Today, we're going to be putting two of Tennessee's most popular cities head to head and seeing which one is right for you. We're talking about Chattanooga and Nashville. So if you're thinking about moving to the Tennessee area and you're not sure which city is the right fit for you, then you're in the right place, because in this video, we're going to go into depth on which city is the best fit for you. Before we jump into the content, this is also being published as an audio-only podcast. So if you're interested in perhaps listening instead of watching, you can check that out over on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or Amazon Music. I'll leave links in the description below. Okay, without further ado, let's talk about Chattanooga versus Nashville. First of all, let me give you a top-down look, the 10,000-foot view of each of these cities. When you're comparing the two, think of Chattanooga as having a slower pace of life, amazing access to the outdoors and fun things to do outside. Now, when we think about Nashville, there is this scale and energy to the city that's just something you don't get in Chattanooga. There is a booming economy. You've got the big city amenities, but as a byproduct of those amazing amenities and that energy, you do have higher costs of living. What's great about both of these cities is that in Tennessee, we do not have state income tax, so you're gonna save some money there. But beyond that, there's quite a big difference between the two cities. So let's jump into that. Let's talk a little bit about the financial equation of living in either of these places. So when it comes to cost of living, Chattanooga is about 11% below the US national average, and it's 2% below the Tennessee average. So it's going to be slightly cheaper to live in Chattanooga than it is to live in a lot of the rest of Tennessee. Nashville, on the other hand, costs 3% above the US national average. For any densely populated urban area, though, it is common to cost above the national average. So don't write Nashville off yet. One of the biggest drivers of cost of living is the cost of housing. So let's jump into that. In Chattanooga, the median sales price of a home in 2025 was between $330,000 and $348,000. That is so far in 2025. Now in Nashville, the median home sale price has been between $493,000 and $533,000 so far in 2025. That's a big difference. On the high end, houses cost almost $200,000 more in Nashville than they do in Chattanooga. In Chattanooga, the median price per square foot is between $191 and $209. In Nashville, on the other hand, the median price per square foot is right around $300 a square foot. So you're paying a lot more for the same amount of space in Nashville. Let's talk about renting a little bit, because that's important too. In Chattanooga, the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment is about $1,250 a month. In Nashville, on the other hand, the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment is $1,720 a month. It's a big difference. Now, of course, this is going to depend on how nice the apartment is, the amenities that the apartment building has, the location. So there's going to be a wide variety of prices for a one-bedroom apartment. For a two-bedroom apartment, the median rent in Chattanooga is $1,460 a month. In Nashville, you're nearly $2,100 a month for a two-bedroom apartment. And again, this will vary based on location and how nice and amenities and all of those other things. Now, here's a little caveat. Some of the more desirable places in Chattanooga, like North Shore, for instance, those prices are going to rival the prices that you're going to see in kind of mid-tier neighborhoods in Nashville. So in Chattanooga, you definitely do pay a premium for a premium location. Another thing that really contributes to cost of living is taxes. So Tennessee has no state income tax, but there still are some taxes here. For example, you have property tax and sales tax. Sales tax in Chattanooga or Hamilton County is roughly 9.25%. In the greater Nashville area, sales tax is around 9.75%. So there's a little bit of a difference there. And if you spend a lot of money, this could add up. But for most people, this is not going to make a massive difference. Property taxes in Hamilton County have historically been a little bit higher than the property taxes in Nashville. But this gets offset by the higher property values in Nashville. So you really end up spending just about the same amount on property taxes. What's interesting about Chattanooga is that Hamilton County is actually in the process of reducing property taxes. So hopefully we see a bit of a pullback in our property taxes in Hamilton County in the upcoming years. In terms of day-to-day expenses, so like gas, groceries, healthcare, utilities, Chattanooga is about 3 to 13% cheaper than Nashville, just depending on the category. Now, this is a really interesting stat to look at: median income. So in Chattanooga, the median income is right around $61,000 a year, whereas in Nashville, median income is more like $82,000 a year. In Nashville, you do have salaries that are quite a bit higher. I mean, that's significant, $20,000 a year. I'll take that any day. But what's interesting though is that Nashville salaries are frequently offset by the higher cost of living. If your house is going to cost you $150,000 to $200,000 more, and then groceries and healthcare and utilities and all these things cost you a little bit more, then your money might not go as far in Nashville as it would in Chattanooga. The other thing is that when you have access to all the big city amenities and it's right there, it's a little bit easier to spend the money. I mean, if there's great concerts in town every single weekend, then it's hard not to go to a few of those every year. And so you just might end up spending a little bit more on some of those big city amenities if you live in Nashville, making that $82,000 median salary not go as far as it sounds like it would. Really quick, I am a licensed real estate agent in both Tennessee and Georgia. So if you're thinking about making a move to the South and you need help finding the perfect place to live, feel free to reach out to me. You can shoot me a text or give me a call or scan the QR code to book a meeting. All right, back to the video. Okay, let's shift gears into the economies of these cities. What drives the economy in both Chattanooga and Nashville? So on the Chattanooga side of things, you've got advanced manufacturing being a big industry here. You also have logistics being a big industry. That's because there are 4 cities or 4 major interstates that intersect in Chattanooga. So you've got Birmingham and Atlanta to the south, and then you have Nashville and Knoxville to the north. And so for logistics companies, being at the intersection of all of these roads makes it very easy to run deliveries between all of these cities. You also have a big automotive sector with Volkswagen and Miller Industries kind of being at the center of that. Chattanooga kind of has an emerging startup and tech scene. Chattanooga has been dubbed Gig City because it was the first city in the US to have citywide 1 gig speed internet. Now the internet speeds that you can get here are significantly faster than that. We also have a large insurance sector in Chattanooga. Blue Cross Blue Shield in the state of Tennessee is based out of Chattanooga, and then Unum is also headquartered downtown Chattanooga. In Nashville, the key industries would be healthcare. You have Vanderbilt up there, very, very well known for having an amazing hospital system and great training programs. There is also a huge music and entertainment scene in Nashville. So it's the country music capital. I mean, you've got all of the country music stars coming through there. Tons of production is done there. There's also a big scene in terms of, smaller artists and smaller bands on the come up will be performing and doing venues and live music at restaurants and bars. And so that is a big part of the music industry in Nashville. Finance and banking are emerging sectors in Nashville. You also have some automotive. There is a growing tech scene there, and tourism is a big industry in Nashville. The biggest employers in Chattanooga would be Blue Cross Blue Shield, Erlanger, TVA, Volkswagen, McKee Foods, Unum, and other adjacent industries. In Nashville, some of the key employers are Vanderbilt University and Medical Center, HCA, Nissan, Amazon, and the state of Tennessee, being that is the capital of Tennessee. In terms of the health of the economy in both of these cities, in Nashville, you have 2.5% unemployment, whereas in Chattanooga, you have 2.7% unemployment. So unemployment is slightly higher in Chattanooga than it is in Nashville. When it comes to job growth, Nashville absolutely exploded during the pandemic. There were so many people relocating to the Nashville area. Chattanooga is up about 20% in job growth over the past decade. So you have really strong job growth in both of these cities. If you're thinking about career growth in Nashville, you would definitely have more of an established corporate ladder. There's definitely more of an established way to work your way up corporate. In Chattanooga, it's a little bit different. The scene here is a little bit more varied. To grow and to increase your earning potential, you probably want to specialize or start your own business. There is quite a bit of momentum right now though in the tech and manufacturing spaces. Let's move on to lifestyle and culture. If we're thinking about the vibe that both of these cities have, Nashville is often nicknamed Nash Vegas. That's because the city has this competitive culture. There's a lot of buzz, there's a lot of energy, there's entertainment, there's a lot of tourism. I mean, every time I go there, I see probably 5 or 6 bachelorette parties. This is very popular in that sense. Chattanooga has been dubbed the scenic city, so think of a little bit more of a relaxed lifestyle. It's more community oriented and outdoors centric. So people that like to rock climb, people that like to hike, mountain bike, get out on the water, go paddleboarding. Those are the sorts of people that you're seeing more of in the Chattanooga area. When it comes to entertainment and dining, in Nashville, you've got world-class live music. When it comes to live music, Nashville is probably the city to be in the South. You also have major league sports teams like the Titans with the NFL and the Predators with the NHL. And then there is a vast fine dining scene. So if you're into wonderful restaurants and culinary experiences, then there is a lot of that in the Nashville area. In Chattanooga, you've got some strong mid-sized venues for live music. There's also a celebrated local food culture. There are a few of those premium dining experiences in the Chattanooga area, but they might be a little bit further and farther between than they are in Nashville. We do have minor league baseball here, and then there are 2 professional soccer teams in Chattanooga. You've got the Chattanooga Red Wolves and Chattanooga FC. If you're thinking about arts and family-oriented attractions, in Nashville, you've got the Country Music Hall of Fame. There's the First Museum, there's the Parthenon replica, and there is the Nashville Zoo. Now, there are definitely other places that are family friendly in Nashville, but those are just some of the highlights. In Chattanooga, you've got the Tennessee Aquarium, the Hunter Museum of American Art, the Creative Discovery Museum, the Bluff View Art District. We also do have a zoo here in Chattanooga, but it's on the smaller side. Overall, I'd say that Chattanooga caters a little bit more toward the family than Nashville does. Nashville has more of this hum and drum and this big city rhythm to it, whereas Chattanooga is just laid back. It's more relaxed, it's more family centric, but both can be great places for the family. So in Chattanooga, kind of the signature landscape would be Lookout Mountain and Signal Mountain, and then the Tennessee River winding through and creating the Tennessee River Gorge. Nashville is known for having rolling hills around the city and the Cumberland River running through the city. In Chattanooga, you're literally minutes away from places to hike and bike and rock climb. In Nashville, it's going to take a fairly significant drive to get, out in the country and to feel like you're out in the wilderness a little bit. The flagship park for Chattanooga would be Coolidge Park with the Tennessee Riverwalk right there. In Nashville, it would be Centennial Park and Bicentennial Mall. Another thing worth noting is that Outside Magazine has named Chattanooga the best town ever 2 times. So if that outdoor experience is important to you, then that's something that Chattanooga has. When I think about comparing the 2 cities, I really can't help but think about Theo Vaughn's little clip that kind of went viral amongst Chattanoogans of him talking about Chattanooga versus Nashville. I'm going to go ahead and insert that right here.
Yeah, Chattanooga's fucking great. You been there?
I haven't been there.
God, dude.
It's fun, huh?
Yeah, just like there's like mountains, whitewater rafting. Everything you wish was in Nashville that isn't.
Yeah.
And it's smaller, feels good.
Oh, I got to go over there.
Chattanooga's beautiful, man. They have this
Look at
beautiful
that.
walking bridge where you walk. It's like it used to be a bridge, but they shut it down or whatever because it couldn't bridge anymore.
Let's move on to infrastructure and mobility. So commute and traffic. The average commute time in Chattanooga is 18.7 minutes, whereas the average commute in Nashville is more like 25 minutes. What's funny is that Nashville ranks as the 12th worst city for traffic congestion in the United States. It's estimated that you lose 56 hours a year living in Nashville to traffic. Chattanooga is not traffic free, being at the intersection of all those major cities. You do get quite a bit of traffic and congestion in Chattanooga, especially because of all of the infrastructure updates they have been doing. There is a lot of work being done on the roads in the Chattanooga area. When it comes to public transit, there is the CARTA bus system in Chattanooga. This is an option for people that live downtown and have pretty short commutes, but for the most part in Chattanooga, you're probably going to want to have a car. It would be very difficult to fully get around in Chattanooga without having a car, especially if you live anywhere outside of the city limits. In Nashville, there is the WeGo bus grid. This is a lot more robust. There's also a commuter rail. I would say though that Nashville is still a car-centric place. So you're probably gonna want to have a car in Nashville. It would be easier to get around on public transit in Nashville than it would in Chattanooga, but you're probably still going to want a car there. When it comes to the airports in both of these cities, the Nashville airport is a great airport. You can get to almost anywhere you'd want to go from Nashville. There are a lot of international and domestic routes. It is a phenomenal airport. I love flying in and out of Nashville. It is not nearly the headache that Atlanta can be. Chattanooga is a much smaller airport, but it can be really convenient to fly in and out of, just depending on where you're trying to go. And there are an increasing number of direct flights coming in and out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. For example, you can now fly direct from Chattanooga to Vegas. You can fly direct to Tampa, Dallas, Charlotte, Atlanta. There are all kinds of destinations that you can fly direct to out of Chattanooga. Let's jump into the education scene in both Chattanooga and Nashville. So in Chattanooga, K through 12 public schools are through Hamilton County. If you want to know specific ratings on different schools, there is a wide variety of ratings, so I'd encourage you to check out greatschools.org. In Nashville, you're part of the Metro Nashville system. Again, I would encourage you to check out greatschools.org for specific areas in Nashville that you're looking at. When it comes to private schools in Chattanooga, there are some standout private schools. You've got Baylor, Macaulay, and GPS. The average tuition at these schools is nearly $20,000 a year. Now in Nashville, these standout private schools would be MBA, Harpeth Hall, and Innsworth, and the average tuition is closer to $18,000 a year. When it comes to higher education, Nashville has some standout schools. There is Vanderbilt, which is a top 25 school. There's also Belmont and Lipscomb. Within Chattanooga itself, you have University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. There is also Chat State. And then in the surrounding area, you have Southern Adventist University, Covenant College, and Lee University. We've gone over a ton of information here, but who is each city best for? If you're an outdoor enthusiast and you want access to trails and the river, and you like to get out and do adventurous things, then Chattanooga is probably for you. If you're more cost conscious and you're trying to save when it comes to your actual cost of living, then Chattanooga could also be a good option. If you're a remote worker or an entrepreneur, Chattanooga could also be a good option for you, especially if you want to keep your overhead low. And if you are commute adverse and you don't like a lot of traffic, then Chattanooga is also the better option. But here's where I'd choose Nashville. One, if you're ambitious and you're really trying to push your career, then you're just going to have more opportunities in Nashville in an economy that's as big as Nashville's. If you like the big city atmosphere with access to restaurants and nightlife and sporting events, then Nashville would be for you. If you fly a lot, both nationally and internationally, then Nashville is probably a better option for you because of the airport. If you're looking for elite healthcare or education from somewhere like Vanderbilt, then that would be another reason to choose Nashville. The bottom line is both cities are great in their own way. Nashville definitely has more of that metropolitan buzz to it, whereas Chattanooga is a little bit more laid back and outdoors centric. What it really comes down to is your priorities. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. I make all kinds of content on what it's like to live in Tennessee, and YouTube thinks you might like either of these videos here. So go ahead and check those out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.